1-2-1-2. Guardyourgrillboxing Radio. We're back. Coltrane, Brother Dow will be joining me shortly. Happy Monday to everybody. Guardyourgrillboxing Radio, as we do every week around this time. You know, we've been off the last couple of weeks. You know, real life stuff gets in the way. You know how that go. Shout out to everybody that's out there on the board. Shout out to everybody that's been patient with us. You know, we definitely going to recap what took place on Saturday night. You know, a lot of emotions, you know, around that fight that took place. We all know what that fight was. Manny Pacquiao takes on Juan Manuel Marquez to conclude their trilogy, at least we think. I'll give you my opinions, as I always do, because I have a lot of them. Like I said, I have a lot of emotions and a lot of opinions revolving around that event, Pacquiao versus Marquez, Part 3. What else did we miss since we've been gone? Floyd Mayweather got a May 5th date on the books at the MGM Grand. Take that for whatever you want, you know, whatever that means. Yo. Testing 1, 2. So May 5th, you know, we won't know a lot until Amir Khan, who's somewhat a player in this triangle, if you will, Pacquiao, Mayweather. You want to put Khan, Timothy Bradley, like all these players are kind of involved in this, and Amir Khan is like the last piece to the puzzle. So we won't really know what's going on until Amir Khan takes on Lamont Peterson, which he has his hands fooled as well. And if last Saturday night taught us anything, is you can't put the horses in front of the cart. So, I mean, the cart in front of the horses, pardon me. You can't put the cart in front of the horses, as we saw last Saturday night. Let me open the show like I always like to open the show with an opening monologue about things that it's things that bother me or something that took place or just something that's just on my mind. As we all know, last Saturday night, you know, Pacquiao was I don't know how much of a favorite he was to take on Marquez, but I don't remember anybody that I know or anywhere that I read was picking Marquez to win the fight. Even if you thought Marquez would give him a tough fight, I don't think anybody thought that Marquez was capable of basically putting on a boxing clinic last Saturday night. I, for one, picked Pacquiao to knock Juan Manuel Marquez out. And more so with the last time we seen Juan Manuel Marquez, 2 weights north of lightweight, you know, he looked way out of place. He looked slow. I mean, he just looked like he didn't belong. And granted, that was against Floyd Mayweather, who's back being the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Currently, before I had him too, but that's a whole other story. But anyhow, I thought Juan Manuel Marquez would get knocked out. Again, 38 years old. He looked subpar in his last few fights. Maybe you want to go back to the Casillas fight, the Juan Diaz fight. Forget that fight he had. Don't forget the guy he fought. Like, you know, it was just like a tune-up fight. He knocked the guy out in 1 round, which, you know, some people was thinking was just a mirage or a pre-ticket seller for the Pacquiao and Marquez fight by having Marquez knock that guy out in 1 round. I'm talking about real live opponents. Yeah, he beat Casillas. Yeah, he beat Juan Diaz, but he took a lot of punishment in those fights. He was dropped in the Casillas fight. He ended up getting Casillas up out of, you know, he ended up winning the fight, knocking Casillas out, beating him, but he had to go through hell to do so. And Juan Manuel Marquez is way more superior of a fighter than Casillas. Now, granted, styles make fights. I know that. I get that. Manny Pacquiao, not bigger guy, but he's been at the welterweight limits for about 3-4 years now. He's comfortable at the weight. He didn't have to bulk up or do any of that kind of stuff. Juan Manuel Marquez brought in a new strength and conditioning coach. We all know this guy. Well, if you don't know, you might want to Google this guy. Been tied to a lot of steroid allegations. He was a part of that whole steroid indictment. Although he wasn't indicted, he wasn't charged with anything, but again, he was tied to a lot of that stuff. So a lot of people had their eyebrows raised about Juan Manuel Marquez's body type, saying that he, maybe, he was, sipping some of the Kool-Aid, But anyhow, that being aside, most people thought Juan Manuel Marquez was getting knocked out. Manny Pacquiao is supposed to be the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Manny Pacquiao is supposed to be the guy that's, he's supposed to be Superman of boxing, if you will. His last fight against Shane Mosley, I said it here on the radio show, and I said it in one of our videos, that he looked subpar to me in that fight. Now, granted, Shane Mosley did do a lot of running, so it's only but so good you can look when you're fighting a guy that's moving backwards. However, Shane Mosley footwork, without even throwing punches, made Pacquiao look sloppy. He made Pacquiao look anxious, very antsy. The Pacquiao from the early 2000s, the one guy that would just bounce around and come straight forward without a real game plan. That was the Pacquiao we saw in the Mosley fight. Lunging in and just jumping in. Just trying to load punches and just basically just relying on his raw athleticism and his speed and his power. They're not really putting a astute fight plan together. That guy showed back up on Saturday night. He showed back up on Saturday night against Juan Manuel Marquez. I always said that in order to beat Pacquiao, you got to set traps for him. You got to make him come to you. Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito, Ricky Hatton, De La Hoya, all those guys tried to walk Pacquiao down. He was able to sidestep and hit him and, throw his signature straight left hand or his short right hand that he developed over the years. You bring Pacquiao to you, you can make him look very amateurish, like we saw on Saturday night, very wild, very uncoordinated, perfectly set up, tailor-made for counter punches. And that's what Juan Marquez did. Juan Manuel Marquez came out in the first round establishing a jab. Now, the first round could have went either way. I know some people scored for Pacquiao. I actually gave it to Marquez. I like the guy that landed the cleaner and crisper punches. I don't just like giving guys rounds just because they're coming forward throwing punches. Marquez gave him great footwork. He took his power left hand from away from Pacquiao by circling the proper direction so Pacquiao can never get his left hand off. He would dip low at times, tie Manny up, get loose. He was sidestepping him, hitting him with uppercuts, hooking off the jab. I mean, just a boxing masterpiece Juan Manuel Marquez did. And all Pacquiao was doing was looking for one punch all night. And when you start the first couple rounds looking for one punch and the guy's putting on a clinic like that going backwards, you normally look for that one punch the whole night. What I'm upset about, everybody out there, is that this sport was founded on the sweet science of boxing. Hit, not be hit. Being a strategist, being a surgeon in the ring. Not just going out there being, giving this Kirkland and Angulo, just going toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano. Now, mind you, I like those kind of fighters. I like those type of fights as well. But we cannot lose focus of what the sport was founded on, and that's boxing. And that's what Juan Manuel Marquez did. He did his job as a fighter by avoiding punishment and antagonizing his opponent with crisp punches, crisp countering punching. And it's up to Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach, I should say, to make the adjustment to checkmate Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, it was a chessboard on Saturday night, and he was just checkmating the hell out of Manny Pacquiao. And me personally, it was a lot of the later rounds that could have been swing rounds like the 10th, 11th, and 12th. I scored the fight 8-4 for Juan Manuel Marquez. I know the consensus is 115, 113 for Marquez. A lot of people, I know some people had it a draw. I always say this to everybody. When you watch these fights, you got to watch them with the volume turned off. Because if you don't watch them with the volume turned off, you're going to be the white noise is going to get to you. The white noise being, the three-letter network commentary crew, the three-letter network judging, which was atrocious, which I never really pay any mind to anyway. But every round was like for Pacquiao, which was a joke. It reminded me of De La Hoya and Pacquiao. De La Hoya and Trinidad. Although Pacquiao did a little bit more than what Trinidad did, but it was eerily similar, where the guy did what he was supposed to do from a boxing perspective. Jab, counter right hand, lead right hand. Counter left hand, lead right hand, stage left, stage right. Avoiding punches. That's boxing. That's boxing right there. Well, what else are you supposed to do? Put yourself in harm's way to please the fans? To give Pacquiao what he wants? So he can knock Juan Manuel Marquez out or knock him down like he did in the first two fights? Well, what else was he supposed to do? He's 38 years old, okay? 6 years senior of Manny Pacquiao. He's fighting two weight classes, which they thought probably was going to be to their advantage, out of his limits. And he schooled Manny Pacquiao. Schooled him. And this is supposed to be the number one pound-for-pound guy in boxing? Really? Seriously, this is the third time they have robbed Juan Manuel Marquez. Third time he's been robbed. Second fight, all right. I can see, all right, if you wanted to get at the Manny Pacquiao, but no doubt about it, Juan Manuel Marquez won the first fight. Second fight, like I said, I'm willing to give him a mulligan for that one. This fight on Saturday night, ain't happening. Ain't happening. Juan Manuel Marquez boxed a masterpiece on Saturday night. Little old Juan Manuel Marquez. You know why, everybody? This is what I love about my sport of boxing. It ain't about muscles. It ain't about knockout power. It ain't about inside fighting. It's about using a set of skills that requires planning, thinking, and being very strategic. That requires nothing physical. You look at Manny Pacquiao, I look at Juan Manuel Marquez. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao might be the better physical specimen, but again, that doesn't come into play with the sweet science. And my mantra has always been the sweet science beats violence 90% of the times. And that's what you saw on Saturday night. Manny Pacquiao had one style, come forward, and I'm going to try to knock you out. That's it. Not one adjustment was made in the fight. Not one. And this is the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Not on my list no more. Now, I had made the turn with Manny Pacquiao from years prior when I used to call him Manny Wack. And one of the reasons why I called him Manny Pacquiao because of the way he fought Saturday night. It was the way he fought before. Now, granted, he made changes, which is somewhat smoke and mirrors now. He made changes when he fought De La Hoya. He made changes when he fought Margarito, Cotto. But again, all these guys were straightforward fighters. You got to kind of throw De La Hoya out the window because he was old and shot. Because I got news for y'all. I promise De La Hoya beats Manny Pacquiao the same way Juan Manuel Marquez did on Saturday night. Don't get that twisted. Don't get that twisted. But what I do know is Manny Pacquiao lost on Saturday night because, oh yeah, he lost on Saturday night. I don't care what the judges said or what's going in the record books because the public perception, everybody that I talk to, from the guy that sells the papers on 125th, from the guy that's in the local deli to the woman that's on the subway station platform, they robbed that guy on Saturday night. That's what people are saying. The little Mexican guy got robbed. It's not just me saying this. You talk to fighter, Amir Khan, Timothy Bradley. They all say Juan Manuel Marquez won the fight. You can't beat pound for pound. On my list, you cannot be the number one pound for pound. You look sloppy against Shane Mosley. And this is coming from Coltrane, a guy that, was in Manny Pacquiao's defense that said he get unjustly unjustly so criticism directed towards him. You know, I went on the limb and stuck up for Manny Pacquiao, but he's not oblivious to criticism. Don't get it twisted. The same way I give you praises, I can criticize you. Told the Floyd Mayweather people the same thing. I don't have a biased agenda with none of these cats. And when I'm breaking down fights and I'm breaking down things, you know, I'm very honest about my assessment on this. Manny Pacquiao, that style, you put him in a ring with a boxer. Forget these come forward guys, these zombies, Margarito, Cotto. You know, guys that made it. Now, Cotto was trying to box him early on, but then he started walking him down. But you box him, you make him come to you, set traps. You know, perfectly timed lead right hands, he jumping right into him. I got news for you. If that was Floyd Mayweather on Saturday night, Manny Pacquiao gets knocked out. He gets knocked out. See, the sad part about it was Marquez probably couldn't open up but so much because you know what happened in the other fights. When he tried to open up and get greedy, he got knocked down. But he's not the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Floyd Mayweather is still the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Juan Manuel Marquez is the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And remember when I asked y'all 2 weeks ago, who's your number 3? Well, I think we found him.